This episode was brought to you by Pentester Academy, the leader in online cybersecurity education. Join over 10,000 professionals from 90 countries to learn security online. Also brought to you by Hacker Arsenal, artillery for cyber warriors. Visit us on hackerarsenal.com to check out our latest attack defense gadgets. I'm Marley Oxenholm from Pentester Academy TV, and welcome to our show, Access Point, where we spotlight cybersecurity companies and give an inside look at the people and technology behind the latest advancements in the industry. I'm joined today by Ameesh Divatia, who is CEO and co-founder of the company Baffle. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Marley. Great to be here.
Wonderful. I'm excited to learn more about the company, so let's get started. So first off, can you tell me more about Baffle? What's the founding story and how did you guys get started?
Yeah, so it goes back to a time when two college friends were hanging out and they had just found out about a really embarrassing hack. This was the Office of Personnel Management hack, where US citizens lost the information that was really near and dear to them because of hackers that went and stole their data. And they started thinking about, well, there must be a way to prevent this. They turned out to be my co-founder, my CTO, and my seed investor. And they talked to me about this concept, and I got really excited because I thought this had a really, really big market potential, because especially of this whole migration to cloud that is happening now. So that's where we got started. We had a very ambitious plan of protecting data throughout its life cycle. That's really what we are all about.
Very cool. And now, how are you guys different than existing solutions that claim to protect data as well?
Yeah, so Baffle is about protecting data, not just at rest, but also in memory and actually in use. So all data protection mechanisms today mostly protect data while it's at rest. This protects against a hack that really doesn't happen as often now, where we say ninjas drop from the floor of the data center and they steal disks. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
Hacks happen because of the fact that credentials get compromised because of insider threats. And that's how the data gets stolen. So that's what we protect against. Where we're different is because we protect data while it's actually being processed.
And I was wondering, can you talk about a sample use case?
Sure, yeah. So we have customers in the financial services and the healthcare area, where because of economics and because of scale, they're moving their applications to the cloud, what is known as lift and shift. When they do that, they're really worried about sensitive data that's in their environment. So we help protect data before it actually leaves the enterprise firewall by encrypting it. And then the data stays encrypted while it is in the cloud environment. And that's really the biggest advantage of our solution, because at no point is the data decrypted while it is in infrastructure that you don't control, public cloud being one of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice. Yeah, those companies especially have so much more to lose, so it's really important. Now, I was wondering, with the May 25th GDPR deadline quickly approaching, how does Baffle help there in terms of compliance and security?
Sure. So GDPR is a very interesting regulation. It's very different from some of the other regulations that we are very used to in the US, especially things like PCI and HIPAA, because those regulations actually specify exactly how you would protect your data. So they talk about encryption, but they talk about encryption at rest because that's what's available today.
Right.
And as long as you're doing what they're asking you to do, you're okay. With GDPR, it really doesn't care about how you protect your data, but if you do lose your data, they will penalize you based on a percentage of your revenue.
Okay.
So it's very different from the perspective that they really care about whether the data is stolen or not, rather than how it is protected.
Got it. Yeah.
So with Baffle's approach, because of the fact that the data is never decrypted, when the data gets stolen, it is useless for a hacker. Because it's encrypted. The GDPR requirement is that if the data is stolen and it is encrypted, then there is no need to disclose that. It is what is known as safe harbor. All 50 states in the US have similar privacy regulations, and they all have this stipulation that if the data is stolen and the keys are not, then you don't have to disclose it. Which is usually a very big deal, especially in the retail environment where when you have a hack, it is a huge hit on your reputation.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So that's how we provide this end-to-end protection, if you will. Not just at rest, but also in memory and when it's in use.
Now, I'm wondering, how have processor vulnerabilities such as Meltdown and Spectre affected cloud security?
Yeah, this is a very scary thing if you think about it, because every processor in the world, irrespective of manufacturer, is actually vulnerable to these kind of hacks.
Mm-hmm.
Spectre and Meltdown are particularly bad because they make system memory vulnerable. So at no point is the data secure because by definition, computers can only operate on data that is in the clear. With Baffle, what happens is that data never leaves an enterprise secure environment unless it's encrypted. So even if there was an attack like a Spectre or Meltdown in the memory of the processor, it would be encrypted data. Mm-hmm. And it would never yield any useful information because it is encrypted. The mechanism by which we actually operate on data is that we never let the key and the data be on the same compute instance. And that's the secret sauce. That is the secure multi-party computation technique that we use in our product.
That's very smart. Okay, I like that. Now, I know you just kind of touched on it briefly, but I'm wondering, why is encryption at rest and in transit not sufficient enough to protect a company's data?
So if you take some of these attacks that have happened, the credentials of the database administrator were stolen. So
Mm-hmm.
when the data is encrypted at rest, by definition, when it shows up in the database server, it is in the clear when they are operating on it. So if the database admin's credentials are stolen, they can directly access that data. So data at rest is not adequate to protect that hack. Data in flight or data in transit is an end-to-end encryption mechanism where it's always decrypted when it reaches its destination. So in this particular case, if you think about it, the pipe between the end user and the database is encrypted, mm-hmm. but it shows up in the database in the clear. And eventually it gets encrypted while it's stored in the disk. Mm-hmm. But there's a missing piece. While the data is in the database server's memory, it's in the clear. And that's the vulnerability that we can protect against, because as soon as it's inserted in the database, we actually encrypt the data. And then we keep it encrypted even when it is being operated on.
Now, I'm wondering, does Baffle support on-prem, hybrid, or fully cloud workloads?
All of the above, because
Nice.
Again, this is not a SaaS solution. We provide software as our product. So if it's on-prem, we just provide that as a software that's delivered to the customer. The customer deploys it in an on-prem environment. And actually, that is one of the big vulnerabilities as well. There was a time when people didn't worry about it. They thought that as long as it's inside their data center, it's safe. But thanks to the Snowden effect is what we like to call it. Inside threats are real. And that's where customers really worry about on-prem environments as well. So we provide that capability as well to protect data on-prem. And then in hybrid environments, the data goes between on-prem and cloud. We protect it just as it transitions from on-prem to cloud. So it's encrypted right there. And then it's encrypted in cloud. So it is truly an end-to-end solution.
Very cool. And now, how do you approach key management?
So we support all of the key stores that are out there. What we do is we connect to an existing key store or an HSM mm-hmm. using a KMIP type of a protocol or a PKCS 11 type interface. These are the most prevalent interfaces out there. So we assume that the customer would have some way of storing keys. If they don't, we can recommend one. Okay. But most of our customers do, and we integrate with that environment. That's one of our biggest tenets, that we really like to make the process of adopting data protection or encryption as frictionless as possible, because we want to make sure that we integrate into existing workflows and existing keys. So what we do is we manage those keys. We rotate them, we generate them, and we retire them. But we don't necessarily provide a new source of keys. We just integrate into existing infrastructure.
Okay, very nice. And now, what databases do you guys currently support?
So we support any SQL or NoSQL database that exists in our customer environments. We are truly a horizontal solution. We're not specific to a particular database. And it doesn't even have to be SQL. We support NoSQL databases as well.
And now, lastly, tell me a little bit more about the product roadmap looking to the rest of the year in 2019.
Sure. So we started the company focusing on encryption as the key ingredient for data protection. But as we talk to customers, we do realize that we are building a complete solution. And that's where we continue to enhance the product by providing more and more monitoring. So we're continuing to enhance the UI that we have built to make sure that we can monitor data access so that we can flag if there is an illegal access of some sort. And then access control is a very critical component of the encryption process itself. So we have very sophisticated access control capabilities that we'll be rolling out in order to complete the solution.
Very nice. Ameesh, I'm looking forward to all of that. Thank you so much for sitting down and speaking with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Marley. It was a pleasure.
Wonderful. Take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook so you don't miss out on any of the latest cybersecurity news. This episode is brought to you by Pentester Academy, the leader in online cybersecurity education. Join over 10,000 professionals from 90 countries to learn security online. Also brought to you by Hacker Arsenal, artillery for cyber warriors. Visit us on hackerarsenal.com to check out our latest attack defense gadgets. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.